I'm going to tell you how to have a fantastic time this holiday season at the table without waking up in a food coma the next day. I'm Dr. Robynne Chutkan, gastroenterologist, microbiome expert, and author, and I am here to help you find gut bliss. On today's show, 'tis the season, and that means lots of festivities, lots of food, and lots of GI distress. So I'm going to give you my 7 best tips for how to enjoy every minute of your holiday and every bite of your meal while optimizing your digestion. Tip number 1, and this is by far the most important: eat before the sun sets. You may not realize it, but your GI tract actually has a bedtime. Contractility of your gut is tied to the circadian rhythm, the light-dark cycle, and that means that your GI tract is most active early in the day when the sun is shining bright, and it literally shuts down once the sun sets. Because a holiday season falls in the wintertime for a lot of us, it could be dark by 5 o'clock. So ideally, you should be having your large holiday meal early, between 1 and 3 p.m., sort of peak daylight hours. And if you can make it a holiday brunch at 11 or noon, even better. Tip number 2, go for a walk after dinner to help stimulate peristalsis, those wave-like contractions in your GI tract that help move the products of digestion through. If you can't walk, then try standing for 20 to 30 minutes after you eat. That way, gravity will work with you to move things down towards the end of your GI tract. Sitting is less good, and reclining on the couch or in bed is the worst. That is really going to slow down your transit time. My plan is always to clear up some plates and do a little cleaning up between dinner and dessert, and that can really help stimulate peristalsis in between. Coming up, my 3rd tip for how to have fantastic digestion during the holiday season. The Gut Bliss podcast is brought to you by Visbiome, my first and, quite frankly, my only choice for a probiotic. Whether you're dealing with irritable bowel syndrome or just looking to restore your gut health, Visbiome can help. It's a medical food for the dietary management of IBS and gut inflammation, backed by science and clinically vetted by thousands of my own patients. Find your gut bliss with Visbiome. Go to visbiome.com/gutbliss and use discount code GUTBLISS at checkout. We are back with gut tips for the holidays to help you rest and digest. Tip number 3 is to put some time between dinner and dessert, or lunch and dessert. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes for your brain to signal that you're full, because there's a lag time between eating enough to feel full and your brain registering that you are full. So taking that pause is going to pretty much guarantee that you will eat less dessert. I highly recommend combining tip number 2, which was to go for a walk after dinner, and tip number 3, which is to put some time between dinner and dessert. Go ahead and take a walk between dinner and dessert and invite your entire table to join you. In fact, I frequently let my guests know ahead of time to wear or to bring comfortable shoes so that we can all go roam around in the neighborhood for 30 or 40 minutes before we eat dessert. Tip number 4 is to go ahead and fill your plate, but just one time. No seconds. Why? Because your stomach is about the size of your fist. And if you open your fist up a little bit, that's about how much it can expand as you're eating. But if you're going to eat more than one plate, you are going to overfill your stomach, and that is going to guarantee that you will have reflux and indigestion, and you're going to feel pretty terrible, not just the next morning, but probably that night. When we come back, tips number 5, 6, and 7 to help you rest and digest during the holidays. Okay, this next one is one of my favorites. Tip number 5. Load up on plant sides, things like potatoes and yams and green beans. These are low-fat foods that are high in fiber, so they're going to move through your gut faster, and they're going to help bulk your stool so that you can have stool nirvana the next day and feel fantastic. And one simple way to accomplish this is to try and make sure you have a lot of different colors on your plate. So you may have orange with some sweet potatoes, you may have green with green beans or Brussels sprouts, purple, maybe a little bit of cabbage, yellow, maybe you have some corn, red with some tomatoes. You want to try and avoid having a plate that is just brown and white, sort of brown, some sort of meat, animal protein, and white, some sort of low fiber starch. Tip number 6. A green smoothie in the morning with pineapple and papaya that contain important digestive enzymes are your secret weapons to help you digest dinner. Bromelain is a mixture of enzymes that's found in pineapples, and those enzymes digest protein. They're proteolytic. They break down protein. Pineapple has been used for centuries in Central and South America to treat indigestion and to reduce inflammation. Papain, which is found in papayas, is another proteolytic enzyme that also breaks down proteins. My absolute favorite smoothie recipe involves a base of unsweetened coconut water, and then I will typically use 2 leafy greens like spinach and kale, or kale and collards, or spinach and collards, depending on what's in my fridge. And then I will throw in some cut up fresh pineapple and papaya. I put in some ice, a little bit of mint and parsley for flavoring, some lemon juice. I blend it all up. You can have a big glass of that for breakfast, the day of your holiday meal, or you can sip on it throughout the day. But that is not only going to give you those fantastic digestive enzymes, papain and bromelain, that are going to help you digest your holiday meal later in the day, but the smoothie is also going to help fill you up so that you don't come to the dinner table starving and you don't overeat at dinner time. This last tip, tip number 7, is really just my best tip in general for every occasion. And that is to enjoy every bite and every moment. Because feeling joyful and not stressed is going to trigger your parasympathetic nervous system. That is the rest and digest mode, which is going to actually help you digest food and rest. If you are stressed and anxious, you're going to trigger your sympathetic nervous system instead, and you're going to end up in fight or flight mode. And that is going to decrease blood flow to your GI tract, and it's going to decrease enzyme secretion. And that's going to make it more difficult to digest your food. You are going to be more likely to have reflux and indigestion and a food coma the next day. So that's it for this week's episode of the Gut Bliss podcast on gut tips for the holidays to help you rest and digest. Wishing you and your loved ones a happy, healthy holiday season filled with great digestion, no bloating, and bountiful bowel movements. Go to gutbliss.com for my free 7-day microbiome reboot course. If you like what you're hearing, drop a review and hit that subscribe button. And remember, dirt, sweat, vegetables, the best prescription for a healthy gut.
The information presented in this show is not meant to be medical advice. Consult your doctor before making any decisions about your health. The patients discussed are real people, but names and identifying features have been changed to protect their privacy.